We have to learn to set the ego aside and get to the level that you're talking about, where we're like selfless. We are open, we're inviting, we're connecting. And yes, right now there's a lot of ego going around, and it's been like this. Modern times have been like this. But I believe that this is the lesson that us human beings need in order for us to realize that ego, we don't need it. That is what's keeping us from...
Welcome back to the Consciousness of the Way. I'm very excited to welcome a new friend to the podcast, FemmeTarot. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I didn't go through the disclosure of I'm also a butcher of all things grammatical. So if you say tomato when I say tomato, and people will go, I told him 5 times before we hit the air, yet he's still busted. He butchered it. What's going on? Yeah, just saying.
Well, okay. It's it's funny. You said it correctly, but I used to, because I'm from Mauritius. My father is from Mauritius, so I grew up trilingual, English, French, and Greek. So I always called myself FemmeTarot. And then all the English speakers were like, it's tarot. It's tarot. It's tarot. It's FemmeTarot. So it's stuck as FemmeTarot. My actual name is Nathalie, actually, but I go about FemmeTarot because when I decided to bring my abilities, let's say, more out to the world and out to the public. And I started a YouTube channel back 6.5 years ago. I think it's been 6.5 years already. Yeah. So I decided to name my channel FemmeTarot based off of the divine feminine. And because tarot to me really embodies in a lot of senses the divine feminine, and I thought that would be a great name to kick off this journey, because I started off, okay, I'm going all over the place, but here's the story. 7 years ago, even though I was born with these abilities, I'm a psychic medium who absolutely loves divination. And actually, it's divination that guided me and showed me the way and made me realize who I really was and how I was connecting to the divine source and how I was connecting to spirit, etc. So I have a love for divination, especially tarot, because of that. But 8 years ago, I was in the corporate world. I was going about doing my business. I was in the music industry. I was in the tech industry. I was doing marketing and all that. But on the side, I was reading colleagues. I was reading friends. I was reading family members and more people. And I could see, and, I wasn't advertising my business because I wasn't a full-time reader. I wasn't a full-time psychic medium. But, word of mouth, people were coming to me. And one day a medium approached me. Never seen her before, never heard of her before. And she said, you have to stop what you're doing. I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? She's like, you have to stop. That is your old life. Now your calling is, you have to go out there and help people. You're a good teacher. Your energy is very, very strong. It attracts the right type of energy and the right type of people to you. And you should be out there. And I was like, me? And I did it. And here we are 7 years later. And this is my full-time job. And I love it. And this is how I meet people like you.
Amen to that. Let's start off with the scripture of life, right? This is so powerful because this is an emission that is coming from you of this frequency, and it comes in the form of these incredible tools, and it's all speaking through you and evoking this remembrance for the seeker that is embracing the wisdom teaching that you are sharing, you're imparting with them. It's a very potent relationship, that symbiosis. and it starts to become more and more clear, more and more dense, the understanding of that, because the substance, as we put it, the Fajin, the fabric of reality, is the magnetic pulse of the primordial mother, that it is the constant and the fabric of everything. And we return to that to find that center point that we refer to as the Wu Ji. And that is when we create, my dear friend, from that magnetism, you create this altered state of distortion. Energy potential, electric potential is what this material is founded on. Creation is the very divination. Oh, I like that.
I like it too.
There you go. I'll be like, oh, it's been a week. Oh, we have a whole marketing. You're a marketing person, so I imagine that will be, I've got a whole new marketing program. Bam.
Or we could start a rap. It could be a rap.
It could very well be a rap. Who knows?
Who knows? Exactly. And you're so right, because tarot is not, it's not just a map. People see tarot as a map to their future, right? Or divination in general. For people, they think that their whole future, their whole life is mapped out in these cards, in these, basically they're pieces of paper, right? They are pieces of paper. But again, it has to do with the energy that this piece of paper carries, because on it, what you have is symbols. You have symbols, you have numbers, you have ancient wisdom hidden in the imagery and in the symbolism, that you just, all you need is to just tap into those ancient, that ancient wisdom, and that's all you have, and that's all you need. But it doesn't map out your future. It's basically a compass. It's a compass to your soul. Sometimes we get lost because we chose to be here for a reason. We chose to be on earth, to live the life that we live right now for a divine reason. And we get lost. We get lost along the way, and we need a little bit of guidance. We need a little bit of a tap, a little bit of reassurance, a little bit of someone telling us or reminding us where we come from, who we really are, and what our mission is. That's how I see divination. And that's why I'm so connected to divination, even though as a psychic medium, I don't need the cards. I don't need the cards to read someone's energy, to read their, in quotes, future. I don't. But I love the connection that I get from these cards, from tarot and other cards, oracle cards. It could be Kipper cards, it could be Lenormand cards, it can be any type of divination, any type of cartomancy, if you will. And what I love is that what I see now is that more and more people are connecting to divination. They're connecting to their spiritual side. They're connecting, they're being more esoteric. And if you remember a few years ago, when if someone said, oh, you know what, I'm into esotericism, or I'm very esoteric, people would be like, ooh, new age hippie, woo woo, ooh, weirdo, you know? But now more and more people realize that we are beings that emit energy, and everything around us is connected to us, because we're connected to everything around us, and everything around us is connected to us. Pretty much like the law of oneness, you know, the law of one. And more people just now want to find answers. They could be deep answers, profound answers, or they could be simple answers as to, why am I here? Who am I? Is there a God? Are there other beings around? How many dimensions are there? There's so many questions, and I love it that now the collective energy, and generally our times are changing. We are now entering the age of Aquarius as well. I'm into astrology as well, so I will reference and mention astrology as a lot as well. And I love that. And you know what? Once upon a time, people were afraid of tarot cards, of divination overall. My mom was one of them. My mom is a psychic. That's where I get it from. But she's afraid of her abilities. And she was always super afraid of anything that was, whether it was divination or anything that was a little bit more spiritual. But that's because she was going through her own inner conflict because she was a person of faith. Her mom, my grandmother, was extremely religious. So was her dad. So, there was an inner conflict with that. So, but my mom really didn't work on her abilities, or she didn't try to answer some of those questions that she had, those burning questions. Now, because I'm doing this and I'm out in public, really, I've become a public figure doing this. My mom is now more open and more accepting of who she is, of her abilities. She's asking me now. She wants me to teach her a little bit, etc. But what I wanted to say is what I love now is that more and more people are so open to connecting to their higher self and to their spiritual side. And that's why we have so many tarot readers out there and so many tarot decks and so many oracles deck now. There are different types. You have the traditional ones, you have more modernized ones that, are inspired by Disney or Pixar or Cars, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It does not matter to me. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, even if there's like a Mickey Mouse on your tarot card and it's like, I don't know, it's the emperor, but it's Mickey Mouse as the emperor, you still get messages. You still feel the energy and the energetic resonance overall of what's on this card. But it's not magic. That's what I want to say, because some people are afraid of these cards, are afraid of divination because they think it's magic. They think you tap into some kind of like low vibrational energy, or that you're bringing in entities. Nothing like that. It's all you. It's all you. Anyone can read cards. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry.
No,
I
not at
tend to
all.
do
No,
that.
no. I find it fascinating because there's deciphering, which really is part of the wisdom teaching that you and I share. Personally, my journey started about 36 years ago, and I've been teaching people what you would refer to as esoteric practices for the better part of 30 years. And that involves the blanket. Not I'm a Taoist priest in 2 lineages of Taoism and I have my name carved into a monastery in China. That is irrelevant. There's a system behind that alchemy, which is very ancient, that has potency, and it's been handed down for generation to generation for thousands of years. And when you apply it to this fabric of reality, you return it to whole. So magic is a huge component within Taoist alchemy, and understanding that magic, everything from sex magic to general run-of-the-mill star stepping. There is a potency of how you harness the whispers of the universe, the interconnection of the cosmos with the practitioner. And the formula is always the same. This is where you throw the baby out with the bathwater, and understanding that spark of desire is the very amber that's necessary for a self-realized state. Now it's being able to, as you refer to, we talk about it, from a lens of, if you want to water it down to physicists' perception of reality, like the wave the matter particle, realize with your attention, intention, cutting from the cloth of perfection, the primordial mother, we create and form what my dear friends, the Buddhist monks, would call dukkha, distortion, baby. That distortion is energy potential. That is the currency of this realm. The currency is energy potential. The commodity is your attention. And with that, you're then able to create that union that is taking place at all times. A creation, a completion, and then a rebirth. This is taking place at all times. That dips into what we call the primordial mother, which is the pulse, the magnetic pulse that is unified. We are merging the yin and yang. Yin is the inverted absorption of all colors. Yang is the emission of all colors. And your mission, if you choose to accept it, Ethan Hunt, is to find that center point, that vesica. That vesica point is the answer to everything that you desire, that you want to create and transform your reality. And most people tend to end it there. The side effects of the struggle between the finite intellect, the bankrupt mind, and the true nature of reality where everything is whole. It's not a struggle. The symbiosis of yin and yang is evident within everything. And for a Taoist, we refer to it as the bellows. Reality is a bellows. You are contracting and expanding at the same time. Always. And your ability to obtain serendipitous synchronistic moments is to access the Fa-Jun, the substance, which is the primordial mother. That pulse of magnetism is what creates everything. And that spark of divinity separates and plays with that energy potential. So we go from dielectric through to the magnetism, and then furthermore, the byproducts of that, which is yin and yang within this state of material, which we refer to as bringing immortality, crystallizing it into material. And yeah, we're up to the races now. You know what I'm saying? As my best Austin Powers, yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. So true. Couldn't say it better. Absolutely. And but I don't. I want to ask you: have you been noticing, especially the last couple of years, how generally the collective feeling, the collective energy has shifted to a point where we can collectively manifest? We can, whether it's good or bad, we can collectively, I don't know if manifest is the correct term.
Create.
I don't even want to use project either. It's
Well, it's a creation. It's always a creation.
That's the word. Yeah.
It's of your design. So if if I look back 30 years ago, someone would come to me with a psychotic episode heading towards a loony bin, and I would do what I do, which I'm mastered in, which is exercising energies, which we all do, but the more low frequential, ominous words that are translated by the seeker, because you create your reality. If you believe in the boogeyman, it will find you. If you believe in the stars, it will find you. If you believe everything is rainbows and unicorns, it will find you. The reality is the crossroads, where we call it the point of no return. That charge and chill you just got right now is that unification. We are communing right now, because this is what the substance creates, is a unity, because you are me, I am you. There is no separation. And the energy potential is now, which does not require the past or the future. Furthermore, it does not require your participation.
It's true.
And then that ability to harness that potency is where you create, and whatever that might be, because your attention is the commodity, it will be formed in however you choose it to be. So within Taoism, we look at it like this. It starts with the spark of divinity. Desire creates inquiry. Inquiry merges into contemplation. Contemplation develops curiosity. Curiosity then fuels what we call hopium. Hopium is a potent state for any human condition to realize thyself. And from that hopium, you develop what we call a belief system. That belief system is then met with experience. And so your experiences will determine what your belief system is. So if you believe life sucks and it's a shit sandwich, then you will receive it, and the universe will only give you what you are looking for. It doesn't have a moral compass. So all these fragmented, fragile states where everyone has their own lens of reality. And furthermore, this is why it's problematic if you come from biology, neurology, astrology, physiology, psychology. You're limited at its best.
Yeah.
If you understand that this is a jump off point to your own self-realization, that it is one facet of the diamond, then the diamond of perfection will reveal itself. And that is that concentration, what we call the absorption between yin and yang. You create the Wu Ji, and you form that diamond, that bright phosphorus white light that bleeds into the flesh, that looks back at you in the mirror, and you start to have imperium dominion maestro over the 50 trillion cells of electric potential. So fast forward 30 years, that same person that would be on the path of self-realization, because when you are taunted and overshadowed by something that looks ominous and low frequential and dark, demonic, whatever you want to call it, it's starting from that seed of your own creation, because you've met that belief system over your own journey, past lives. We can get into that. But the truth is, once you realize you have the power, and what I do is remind people that they're already whole, which their personality is not required. So this is a method to the madness that does not mean that we have to go deep into why daddy didn't give me 5 cookies when I was 5. That trauma and trigger is nothing more than a transitory, fleeting state where vibration and frequency, and which is ultimately the end product, that resonance that is held, is happening all the time through that symbiosis. So planets moving, changing shape and aligning is nothing more than coming all the way down to the myopic, introspective, analytical version of your humanness that you perceive as the human condition. And your Sherlock to your Watson, my dear friend, is to take those crumbs and maneuver through the labyrinth of the finite mind and birth on the other side human beingness, which is the potency of whole, which then you reveal this secret source called the sentience, that is the clue that takes you to the superpower of any human being, empathy. And that reveals this thing you can't fight, the default, which is servitude and selflessness. And you're like, oh, well, Chifu, I mean, when I started with you, I want to train to do all the sexy stuff, like the levitation and the healing and the pyrokinesis and the telekinesis and the clairvoyance and the channeling and the heal. This is great. This is gravy on top of your train to your destination. The truth is, it's problematic when I see a student obsessed with one facet, and I'll bring their attention to it. It's like, okay, you learned the lowest rut, physical healing, infantile stuff, basement level. Hey, you're now there. Yeah. Now move on and don't go, I am a healer. This is problematic for your own growth and expansion. If you're following the path of transformation and remembering who you are, that doesn't require the golden baubles on the path to the wizard. And when you get to the wizard, you'll realize that the wizard was always inside of you. You reveal the curtain and it's there. It was never outside. And that's the part that everyone gets deluded about. It's like, hang on, but I learned I had to. Yes, that's part of your own processes, your own development. And so today, most people will just wake up and they'll go, oh my goodness, I saw grandma. I heard a voice. I had a vivid dream. I can read energy. I can see auras. Oh my goodness, I can tell when someone's happy or sad. I'm a psychic. I'm a medium. I'm a healer. And they'll start channeling the Palladians, open up a YouTube channel and get 100,000 followers. That's generally how it works these days. So in answer to your question, do you believe that the temperature has risen with a conscious collective of that truth? 1,000,000%. The path of any Taoist alchemist is to remember that and furthermore contribute as you continue to ascend through this realization of know thyself, self-realized. You will come to the servitude and selflessness that you cannot fight, but that is part of the electric potential. So you have to there's a cultivational practice that makes it real. So it's repeatable and it's experiential and it's at will, because that's where you take the impermanent to permanence. And that seems like a contradictory paradox, but no, when you're able to seep into that magnetism, all bets are off of what your reality really is.
That's so true. That's so true.
Did I answer the question, or maybe you're like, I wish I
No,
never
you absolutely did. You absolutely did. Thank you. And you know, it's interesting because that's the thing. I get this question a lot with people saying, you know, with everything that's going on in the world, you know, what do you see in the future? What's going to happen to the world? What's going to happen to humanity? You know, are we going to be destroyed because there's going to be a third world war, nuclear war, or the aliens are going to come and get us, or there's going to be like, you know, an Independence Day in real life? And I'm like, listen, right now, think about when you're doing divination or when you're doing esoteric work and you're working on yourself, right? You have to do shadow work. You have to go through the shadows before you're able to say, okay, now I'm standing on my two, not literal feet, but now I'm standing high. You know, I feel like I know what parts of me have been wounded and I've worked on, and I still need to work. It's an ongoing process. It's not a one-off thing. And after that, you're able to get to a place where you're starting to vibrate, and your vibration starts matching with the vibration around you, with the collective. And this is what's happening now. That's what I'm telling people. It is the shadow work that the collective needed to do, and it's doing. And it's ripping a Band-Aid. It's going to be ugly. It's ugly. You cannot avoid it, but it's part of the process. It's part of death and rebirth. We've done the birth. We went through the canal, but we have to do it all over again because we didn't do it right. So it's like going through and entering the canal, the birth canal, coming out collectively, resonating on a very, very potent energy. This is how I see it. I hope it makes sense, but this is how I see it. And I'm actually looking forward to the future. I'm actually looking for it. And I'm actually happy that this is happening right now to human beings, to the collective, to the world. Obviously, Gaia, Mother Earth, is reacting to the energies around, because Gaia is very much organic, right? Earth is organic. So Earth absorbs our energy just like we absorb Earth's energy. We're using Earth's energy we have gravity, right? Otherwise we'd be floating. We would be up in space. We wouldn't be here. We're using Earth's resources. Therefore, there's an exchange of energy between us and on our environment. And this planet that we call home, which is a temporary home. We all know this. It's not really our home. Let's call it a base. It's our base, but it's not our home. Our home is over there. It's in the spirit world. It's not here. Our home does not involve muscle, bones, hair, clothes, any of that. Our home, we carry it in our psyche, in our like psyche in Greek means psyche. And psyche, that's where the word psychologist comes from. Psychiatrist is from psyche. So someone who is tending or healing or nurturing your soul. But it's a lot deeper than that. It's not just that a psychiatrist is healing our soul, but our soul, which is being led by the ego, because we are human beings. Therefore, ego comes first, always. That's what we have to learn. We have to learn to set the ego aside and get to the level that you're talking about, where we're like selfless. We are open. We're inviting. We're connecting. And yes, right now there's a lot of ego going around, and it's been like this. Modern times have been like this. But I believe that this is the lesson that us human beings need in order for us to realize that ego, we don't need it. That is what's keeping us from That's keeping us from really connecting to the divine source. When we're here on earth, when incarnate or reincarnate, ego gets in the way. And that's why, to me, a good reader, a good psychic, a good medium, a good teacher, a good leader is one that doesn't lead with the ego, but leads with compassion and empathy. Because those two don't go together. Nope. They're like two estranged, a strange couple. They're drawn to each other, but not really. And yeah. So you totally answered my question, because this is where I've been seeing it going in my meditation sessions. When I'm connecting to my guides, I see where this is all going. And I know it's hard for all of us. There's a financial crisis, there's political, there's society, turmoil, political turmoil, there are wars, there is just so many bad things happening, so many negative things happening in the world. But to me, I see that as a positive. It's a way to a more ascended life. And yes, we can reach that as humans. You have.
Childlike in your nature, accept everything at face value. Coming up as a young boy in Australia, which I'm originally from, we have the biggest Greek community outside of Greece. So unfortunately, I only know adjectives within the Greek language that are probably not appropriate.
Okay. I think I can guess.
I mean, ones that most people are like, what? I kind of erased most of them, but there's a handful that I'm kind of fond of. But that's just how it is. That's just it ends up there. But
Yep.
a lot of people, in Australia would be very familiar with these type of adjectives. That
I'm sure they will. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm going to throw one out there because this is Australian. So, a malacca.
I knew it.
There you go. Right. Or one that's a little harsher because the community is not very forgiving. A busti malacca.
No way, you know that one too. Oh my! Who taught you?
And then, of course, the famous ones are apu piso and gamiso. There you go. Right. Okay. This is more a traditional understanding of what a Greek culture is with the apu piso. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and everyone else can translate that information. You and I find it funny. I'm pretty sure.
I'm in tears. I think it's really funny and good accent too.
Yeah. Well, you hang around. I'm eating. People are familiar with gyros out here. They're euros. Euros. Yeah, that's very common within Australian culture, these type of foods. And some of the best Middle Eastern food, Greek, Lebanese on the planet, outside of the origins of it, you'll find it in Australia. We have some of the big, literally little Greece from outside of Greece is in Australia. Little Italy outside of Italy is in Australia. Little, Lebanon is literally in Australia. And furthermore, at this point, it's like outside of China, that's the biggest origin for Australia is China itself. Like,
wow, I didn't know that about China.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. They literally probably took over most of Sydney. And I could tell that because I used to hang out in Chinatown when I was a kid, and I could tell, I could feel this. I'm going to come back here sometime. And I honestly haven't been back there for 30 years and had a choice. And, my mother's over here and whatnot in America. I live in America.
So your mom's American?
No, she's Australian.
Oh, she's Australian. Sorry.
But, moving over here, being over here for 30 years, it's a long experience. So I literally left, but I had some very full and very robust years as a young Australian. And just those type of communities, they're really, when you touch hearts with a Greek family, it's for life.
It's true.
And
It's true.
you know, I was a single child. I was an only child, and I
Mm.
literally was taken in by the Greek family that lived next door to us. And
I can imagine. I can
and
imagine.
it's like, you know, it's like, oh, you're just walking past. You come inside. We're
So many
eating. We're always
Czechoslovakia.
eating. We're always eating. What are you talking about? You look. You're too skinny. You need to eat. Come on, sit down. Sit down. I'm like, it's just a very warming, loving environment that can be dramatic, but in
It's
most cases, I've always really loved the Greek culture because it's a very family oriented sort of thing.
it's true. And fun fact, I lived in Austria for 11 years.
Mm.
And because my husband is Austrian, and we moved to Greece 3 years ago because I was drawn to the energy. Like I
Mhm.
lived in Greece when I was younger because my mom is half British, half Greek. And it's interesting going back to energy and back to what you were saying about the Greeks and overall, like the culture and how hospitable and warm they are. But, and that's all true. Like when you come to Greece, especially where you come from, like Germany or Central Europe, you see the difference. Okay, you see the difference in culture, in people. People are more open-ear, louder, more dramatic, as you
But they're
said.
very passionate. They're very passionate.
Passionate.
Don't mess with. If you mess with one Greek, you mess with their whole family, their whole lineage just turns up. It's like you don't want to play with that. And I
That
used
is
to
so
experience
dumb.
that as being a part of the family. I would, you know, someone would mess with me. Next minute, four brothers would turn up over there. Who are these people? Well, never you mind.
Yeah, the cousins, the brothers, all whole family will be there, like Cosa Nostra, to help you. But the thing about Greece, aside from the people, and I do believe this is also connected to the land, to the location, to the history, the culture of Greece, because Greece has very rich culture and history, obviously. I was so drawn to it, and son, it's so interesting. When I came here, I quit my corporate job while I was in Austria, and then so I was full time working. I started my own spiritual business, working full time, etc. And I came to Greece, and I can tell you, my abilities, my energy, me, just like on steroids, just went boom. I started developing new abilities that I didn't know I had, or I had, but I hadn't worked on, or they were sort of, a little bit raw. It's the energy here. And I do believe that generally the energy, it's just like if you think of different locations, if you go back in history and you look at different locations, for instance, World War One, World War Two, Vietnam War. I'm just taking the more recent big wars. And if you look at the locations where or why all these wars or these conflicts started, there's a very profound, deep spiritual connection there. And I believe Greece is one of those countries and one of these places, and it is a portal of energy. It has various portals here, obviously, and it's interesting how this is what astrologers do, right? This is cartoastrology or astrocartography, even it's the better term, where you can actually define and find the location that is more would resonate more to your energy and your vibration. So to me, it was Greece. It's also Mauritius, my birthplace, where my father is coming from. So it's very interesting how even a place, a location, whether it's a country, a city, a home, a piece of land, can really change your whole being, your whole how you emit energy, how you receive energy, how you connect to energy. And I find all of that fascinating without being someone, and I work with energy because I connect to people's energies and I'm very good at doing it like that. But here's the thing, I never went and dove deep and studied it. It was like literally when I quit my corporate job, I was like, okay, here it is. I need to help people. I want to help people. And I dove in, and I'm fascinated with all your teachings and Taoism and all of it. And I'm going to dive deep into it, I can tell you, because I can see how that is connected very much to what I do.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting how you define it. We refer to it. There's a technique that I teach people called body dowsing, and so something more formal or throwaway from a hypnotherapist or even someone who's a divine spark. We use these things. If you water it down, there's ideomotor response that takes place within the body, and those ideomotor and ideograms are being transmitted through your body. This is just a more formal, watered down definition of what is taking place. It's divine source that is transpiring through you, transmuting through you. You're admitting it at all times through every part of your knowing. And so it comes through in tarot cards, you know, dowsing forks, pendulums. You just attach yourself, even a Ouija board, which everyone's so adverse to, yet it's just a vehicle to define information. And this type of stuff, you know, you want to find. And one of the first things I like teaching people is how to find the power centers, the grids, the vortices, the portals that are surrounding your environment. And they're potent. They're super potent. There's nothing more exciting than watching someone's eyes like the size of saucers when I go, hey, by the way, in the space you're in, there's 7 different portals. And it's this, and this, and it's right here and here. And they're like, what are you saying? Just go away and check it. And you hear in the background, what the? Because their eyes are open, and all of a sudden, this is an instant invitation for activation within the energy potential, because electromagnetism, being the substance, the currency, evokes that instantaneous remembrance. And all of a sudden, they're like, I can feel what he's talking about, but I'm not sitting in the lotus position, calling my angels, burning incense, and asking for divine intervention. It's happening now because it's always the default. That is your truth. That potency that you're speaking of, that wisdom teaching that you arrived to, you discovered and reclaimed that origins of who you are through your teaching, is primal. That is your birthright. That is part of this existence, is remembering. So, you know, that it may come in a method. Like for me, I needed to realize it because, you know, 36 years ago, within 1 week, I never meditated before. And the first time I meditated, I stopped sound for 20 minutes. I said, this is addictive. I don't care what it is. I want it. So instantly. And then the following day, I channeled my teacher that I still commune with on a second-by-second basis, Latsu. And so now I have the teacher where I see him as clear as I see you. I hear him as clear as I hear your voice. And I'm not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or 3 cents short of $1. And this level of sensory perception that I refer to is a deep activation within a Taoist alchemy that evokes what we call yin eyes. And it's a method. And with everyone, there is no exception. We all have accessibility to this if you're just given the method. And like I teach people methods to acquire something that most people would go, it's your gift. You're not going to have it this lifetime. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. No, sorry. Everyone can do it. You just have to understand. So, for example, levitation, right? Okay. For me, asinine, useless technique, yet I've met 3 people in my lifetime that have been able to do it. 2 Indonesian masters of Kundalini and one of my students. And people are like, you're a Jifu, but why don't you levitate? Because I couldn't give a shit about levitating. I like watching physical healings, mental, emotional, spiritual healings. And then this is what fires me up. If I once I lead you to the resonance and your ability to hold that within this container, I'll give you the secret sauce. It's just a matter of a method. Once you have the method, you will be able to master it. It's not some crazy labyrinth or puzzle that's missing several components once you start to understand that cultivation. So, you know, for me, that went from stopping sound, channeling my teacher the next day, gave this guy a stroke that was teaching me channeling because I'd never done it before. It was like a laser beam of divine energy that just saturated the room and my body, and everyone was hanging around with sticks and marshmallows trying to cook them around the admission that I have, and I still have it to this day.
No.
It's instantaneous. And so the following day, then I got to experience clairvoyance. He taught me how to do it like a formula, because I attribute this remembrance to I'm childlike in my nature. So I accept everything at face value. I came from a teenage or a young childhood of bodybuilding and powerlifting. And so I'd already felt into my body. I felt into the tactile. Instantly activates the lower energy, what we call Duntians, their energy elixir fields, the cinnabar field of activation. So when you feel into your body and you understand that chemical response, you instantly open up for awareness. So I was already mastering that intention by lifting weights. I was getting up to 700-800 pound squats, deadlifts, all this kind of stupid shit. Pardon my French, stupid shit. And then a voice said to me, you need to find meditation. And in those days, meditation for anyone looking for it was Hare Krishnas, hippies with hairy armpits and alfalfa sprouts, and, vegans. And I'm like, okay. And the people are looking at me like, you look like some roided out gorilla. It doesn't make sense. So when I turned up to my meditation class, that was easy because she was just a humble grandmaster teaching people meditation. She was 4 foot high. It was a simple story. When I turned up to the channeling, because it was like all these things I found in the classifieds, which was the old school newspaper. You ever heard of that, guys? My kids are like, I've got 6 kids, and they're like, what is a classified? Is that a newspaper? What is a newspaper, Dad? I'm like, wow.
Wait till they find out about faxes and telexes that we used to.
Oh my goodness! And if I had them, I have one of those old Miami Vice like
you still do? No,
I have it. I have it in my man cave. I love looking at it. It's like, oh my!
That is iconic.
It is iconic. It's a piece of history. and so this teacher was like, I think you're in the wrong place. He looked at me and went, you need to go. I'm like, hang on, I'm here for the channeling. I'm responding to classified. Listen, you're not supposed to be here. I'm like, no, I am. No, I think you've made a mistake. I'm like, allow me to experience this. Take my money and let me experience this. Okay, you're going to be disappointed. And that's when I popped off and everyone was like, I'll have whatever he's having. What is that? What is that? How is that possible? And so it went straight into, and so at this point he had a stroke. The teacher, 60 years into the game, is going, how does a buffoon Neanderthal come into my class where I've been teaching this and cultivating this for a better part of over half a century, and I've got this guy out of nowhere? It's called an awakening. This happens to everyone. It's more common these days. This brings it right back to what you were speaking of 5 minutes ago in the conversation. It's so potent. Yet back in those days, it might have been a little rougher, and it was. It only collectively got worse. So I hung around the next day, and he was teaching clairvoyance, and it's like, okay, here's the formula. This is how it works. And he literally laid it out like that, and I receive it that way. It's so easy for me. I like reading the program. Wow, okay, I need to do 3 squats, 300 pounds, 20 reps, and I need to do 3 sets. Okay, let's do that. And so he thought, oh, okay, Mr. Channeler, you're now. And now I thought I was having a psychotic break because now I see this old man and I hear him. I'm like, I'm crazy. I've done something wrong to myself. At this point, I need to continue, which is my old expression. I'll try anything once, which could be problematic. Which is the problem with that. So when I went for the next day, he goes, here, this is how you would look at the auric field. You need to develop these skills. It's probably beyond you. It's going to take you years to get there, but this is the fundamentals. Why don't you? I tell you what, Mr. Channeler, why don't you read my aura? And I'm like, okay. And I had no sense of expectation. So when I did, this voice literally poured in, and it was a very dark energy. And it said, tell him that if he does not continue to offer his students as a form of payment in that consuming energy, that I will have to take his life. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm getting. And he's like, go ahead, tell me. This energy is telling me that if you don't continue giving your students their life force, I think it was that I was being I was like,
Yeah.
then this energy is going to take your life. And he's like, whoa, 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 up, 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 in the other room, in the other room, I mean, I was like, okay.
Kind of kicked in. Yeah.
And when he took me in the other room, he's like, where'd you get that from? I'm like, you told me to read the energy. You just explained it to me. And he's like, okay, sit down. I'm like, and I was not the fact that I was probably one of the sacrifices that he was offering to this energy, but it was more, did I get that right? And you watched his eyes get bigger, and it was being more explaining, more justification. I'm like, I wasn't listening to that. I was like, did I get that right? He's like, listen, I need you to understand. I've been working with this. No. Did I get that right? And he's like, look, oh my goodness, I got it right, didn't I? And this is when you know for the first time when the pin dropped, when you started to realize, oh my goodness, this information is pouring into me. It's happening through me, not to me. It doesn't have this container that needs to be constricted. Most people are grasping for stuff, and then it seeps out of their hands.
Right.
You're getting direct source information. This is potent. And so I freaked out, and I was just excited. I was like, oh my goodness. Not the fact that I was involved with some cult psychopath
completely
that wanted to like have his students fed this energy. I was like, oh my goodness. And so that following day, it goes in, it gets better. The following day, I experienced a distant healing where this woman had an ankle the size of a watermelon. It shrunk before her very eyes, and she was standing on it. And then the following day, it gets even better. I witnessed gangrenous flesh go back to pink in color in 40 minutes.
Wow.
And then I get 5 days of what people would call spiritual days, dark night of the soul, which by the time I got through that, I had every thought, every feeling, every emotion nonstop coming at me. I could see auras. I could see information instantaneously, like on a computer screen. Everywhere I looked, I could see everything. And by the third day, suicide was a contemplation. I was like, I'm done. I need to leave whatever this is. And I would go into silly things. I go to the movies. I want to distract myself by watching a movie. A naked woman would walk out and I'd throw up. I literally threw up in the person in front of me. This is that visceral effect of you understand how that transmutation, as you embody this magnetism, there is no room for this corrupted, finite, egoic state that tends to commandeer things. It starts to dissipate and dissolve, and your new, fresh truth, absolute truth is seen.
It's almost like absolutely, because I was going to use the meta or the analogy. It's like wearing a suit, like a rubber suit, right? And it's weighing you down. You feel hot. You're sweaty. You're not feeling comfortable. You're feeling that this is not right, but you were born with that suit, right? So you're used to carrying that, but it doesn't mean that you enjoy wearing it. You're not yourself. You don't move freely. You're not feeling good. And what you just described, it's like removing that suit, that rubber suit, and you're naked, but it feels good because you feel everything. You feel like the wind hits your hand. You feel that tiny little breeze on that pore, on your skin's pore. That is what happens with the awakening, the spiritual awakening. What you went through, what I went through, what a lot of us healers and teachers go through in order for us to release that rubber suit and finally be naked, be pure, and connect to every.
It's a liberation.
Oh my God, it's a liberation. Absolutely. Because you go through all these suicidal thoughts, obviously, because you're like, I don't belong here. I feel too much. I no one understands me. I don't want to be around people. I don't want anyone touching me. I don't want any and you're just overwhelmed. And then when you realize what's happened to you, and
Well,
the
no,
path.
I was
Sorry,
going to
go ahead.
say, I wanted to circumvent what was happening to my group of friends. I had a close group of friends, about 20 kids that I grew up with. And
Okay.
my goal was to circumvent the outcome because by the age of 10, I started fasting, bodybuilding, powerlifting. And so by the time I was 15, I was heavily into this type of
Mm.
conditioning. I was competing, meets, all that kind of stuff. But over that journey, I would still hang out with my childhood friends. Now, in those days, what was common for most kids that are, delinquent from the mainstream, they're curious about sex, drugs, rock and roll. Guess what? That was my environment that I was sitting
Mm.
in that I was not subject to. So I avoided that. I was like, I'm not taking LSD. I'm not taking ecstasy. I'm not taking pot. I'm not drinking. So I'm like, So I had these friends that I'd hang out in the corner of the room while they're getting high as AF
Mm.
and reading my Muscle and Fitness magazine. And one day, one of my friends, what was his name? Maurice. He came up to
Mm.
me and goes, bro. He put his hand on my shoulder. He goes, you know what? You got to go. I'm like, what? Dude, unless you're going to pop a pill or smoke some weed, you're a buzzkill, bro. You need to get out of here. But we've been friends. We've been, it's like, honestly, why don't you go work out? Just this is your thing. This is not our thing. We want to experiment with all this stuff. And so by the time I entered the whole meditation, all this kind of stuff,
Mm.
out of my 20 friends, 19 of them had committed suicide. And
What? I wasn't
so,
expecting that.
oh yeah. And so for me, I was like, I want to avoid that.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
avoid that all the time. So when I went off my rocker, starting to see Latsu, hearing him, seeing him like you, I thought, oh shit, I fucked myself. I did exactly. I screwed myself even more than I thought.
Mm.
I'm going in the same journey as the rest of my buddies,
Right. Mm.
but I avoided all that. How is that possible? And I was like, I was just out of my mind. I couldn't believe it, and I was so far into it. I was like, what the hell? Just give me more. What am I going to do? Go insane? Unfortunately, for everyone, that never transpired.
No.
But a
Wow.
lot of people tend to, and I have one friend left who still struggles with the empowerment of schizophrenia, and he always comes back to all the teachings that I give him, and that
Wow.
centers him and grounds him into his true knowing. Because this type of psychological disorder is just not the ability to switch it off. There's a
No.
technique that needs to be developed, and once I teach someone the technique, it's like, oh, I thought I was crazy, shitback crazy. I thought I had personality disorder. Someone called me a schizophrenic. Someone called me bipolar, and I have empowerment because, you're no different than anyone else. You have to know how to use these tools.
Exactly. And we have a label for everything these days, right? So we have anyone who is different or behaves differently or believes something different to the mainstream, we have a label for it. But just like with autism, that's a whole other discussion, but it's something that is, to me, very connected to spiritualism as well,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to children, autistic children, or children with schizophrenia, for instance, or paranoid disorder and stuff like that. For me, these are souls that are, these are, that's why I hate labels, because we're labeling, therefore you're stigmatizing, you're putting that black dot on someone, right? But to me, these are the people, especially people who suffer from schizophrenia or other mental disorders, are people who are very elevated spiritually, because I've connected to their spirits and their energy. Because I have a couple as well around me that I see and I help and I heal and I talk to, etc. They just don't have the filter and those doors that the rest of the world does. Okay. Their doors are open. That's a difference. And
Leave
we've
the light
labeled
on.
them. And that makes me sad.
Yeah, well, they always end up with the wisdom teaching, right? So their guides are bringing them to you or me for an insight and enlightenment and an expansion of their own knowing, their own self mastery, their self, know that.
Exactly.
Uh,
And they're probably here to teach maybe a parent or a sibling or someone. They're here to guide and escort, in a sense, throughout this lifetime, someone else. And that's why they're here. So they chose to maybe have some kind of disability, let's say, or, maybe they were born missing a limb or whatever it may be. But these souls are the souls that keep the rest of us here on earth in check, spiritually, obviously spiritually, not in. That's how I see it. And working with, having worked so much with people, I work a lot with people who are bipolar, and who come to me for guidance because they do understand that something's different. I mean, they obviously know because they have a diagnosis, but I mean something different, not in a psychological or medical sense, but more so in a spiritual sense. And these souls are amazing. They've lived amazing past lives. They have incredibly strong and powerful energy and light around them. And they just, again, they just need a compass. They need a compass and someone to kind of guide them through this maze, because you use the analogy of using the labyrinth, the maze, right? And it is a maze. All our lives, the web, the tapestry of the universe and the divine source and how everything is connected. We all have to go through these mazes, right? Everyone, every being, every light, every molecule, everything, we all have to go through these labyrinths, these mazes. We learn along the way, and then we meet right at the center where the divine source is. That's how I see it. I've always seen it that way. As a little child, as a little girl, I remember, because I always liked to be around adults. I'm someone who loves to read books. I love intellectual conversations and discussions where, I learn things and my mind opens up. And I've always, since as a child, I was very mature for my age, and I would always hang out with like the adults and my friends, my parents' friends, etc. And whenever the conversation would go to like, what's God, what's the meaning of life, these types of conversations, even when the adults were drunk, I always had that vision about where we all come from. Even as a child, I knew exactly where we come from. I knew exactly what or who God in quotes is, what the connection is. I could see their auras. I could see how my aura or my energy, right, was connecting to people around me. And even when I wasn't talking to them or paying attention to them, even if it was a stranger just standing or sitting next to me or behind me, I could still feel and see the connection. I had nothing, didn't, this was a stranger. We're talking about strangers, but still, we were connected. And so I started asking questions, and I started reading books, and I started having these conversations with any intelligent, intellectual adult I could find. And they all thought I was like, I remember they would tell my mom, like, Natalie is very gifted, but not gifted as in like psychic, like very gifted. She's very, very smart. She's an old soul. I remember they would always say, she's an old soul. My mom was like, yeah, I know. She's a golden child. She's this, she's that. But and now doing what I'm doing and having elevated and having expanded my own abilities and having connected so closely with my guides, I realized that everything as a child, everything that I saw, the visions, the ideas, the thoughts, everything that I felt, saw, everything is exactly it. This I was right. I was correct in a sense. So it makes it even more fascinating for me now, especially when I hear of friends who have children that are gifted. I have friends that bring me, or people that I know that bring me their gifted kids. I do not read kids. I'm very ethical. I don't like reading kids. I don't want reading kids, but they'll bring those gifted children or these children with abilities to me, because these children want to have these conversations. They want to understand that their dreams, their visions, their thoughts, their feelings, all of it are validated by someone who can see and feel the same thing. I'm very passionate, as you can see, about this topic, but I could talk all day, every day about what we're talking about today. Because to me, even though this is my job, this is what I do, and I help countless people, I'm still in awe. I don't know if you, but I'm still in awe, you know? It's just, and I love it. Never dull moment.
I mean, it really is. It's like, first time I ever saw your face. I mean, it really is. I wake up every day that way, and it
It's for you as
truly
well.
is. It's like childlike. So you
Yes.
return to face value. You return to the magic and the mystery of life from the lens of a child that has no boundaries, no limitations, just meeting the day, carpe diem, meeting the energy of the now moment. And that's really the only thing that is a permanence, which is the now
Mhm.
moment. Past and future is irrelevant and, quite frankly, a distraction. And when you hang in or hook into that, that's that Wu Wei, effortless action,
Yeah.
effortless effort, which is serendipitous and synchronistic within Taoism. That's how you hold on to that potency of that magnetic pulse that
Correct.
is the primordial mother.
Mm.
And boom. Yeah, baby.
And it's interesting
Awesome.
that you said the children, because this is another way of how when people ask me a lot of times, they're like, "Can help me sort of develop I'm very intuitive, or I'm an empath, and I want to develop my abilities, or I want to learn more." And I always say, first of all, you have to learn how to meditate, because a lot of people say, "I cannot meditate. I cannot quiet my mind." I was like, I was the same. I have a busy, as you can tell, I'm very, very hyper. I have a very busy mind. It took me a while to train myself to get to that quiet space, and it started in the shower. Honestly, the shower is the best way to meditate or learn how to meditate, because you're relaxing. The water helps you. The water purifies you. It cleanses you. Water is a good conductor of, like, just like good conductor of electricity, energy as well. It's a great way of connecting. So with me, I started in the shower, and then slowly but surely I started learning how to feel comfortable and make myself comfortable and go to a place where I can meditate and go into deep meditation and connect. But a lot of people, and I understand that, have trouble doing that. And I always say there are two things that you have to learn to do before you are able to start learning and developing your abilities or connecting to spirit or deceased loved ones. A, learn how to meditate, because your mind, you have to learn how to switch off and on, because that's key. Because we have busy minds. So a lot of times there's too much noise, and you might not be picking up the signs and the feelings and seeing what you're supposed to see or what spirit is sending you. And the other one is, remember what it was like when you were a child. What was it like on Christmas Day for you as a child? Weren't you excited? Didn't you have this anticipation about Christmas, and this just this overall excitement and this innocence that children have? I'm like, channel that energy, channel your inner child, that happy inner child, Christmas Day, because why, your vibration is so much higher, vibrating so much higher and so much faster, so you're able to start picking up things. So these are like tips and tricks that I always sort of like teach my students or my clients. And it's interesting that you mentioned the child as well, and the connection to children. That's I have a soft spot for children in general. I do think that they are, especially the younger generation now, the alphas, the Zs, and the next ones. I do believe that these children they entered this world very well equipped. They've had many lives. They have a lot of they've had a lot of guidance. So I have so much faith in these children. And I do believe in the future, naturally, children, when, like, telepathy is going to be very natural to children and human beings and humans overall. That's how I see it. This is how it was shown to me, at least. I will get to that level where material stuff and all the noise around us, everything that we want, we lust, we need, we think we need, or we work hard to attain, all of that is just noise. And I see us slowly but surely starting to dim that noise or quieten that noise, and really starting to connecting to this potent collective energy. And I really see this and believe this, that we will start seeing it and feeling it and experiencing how we're all connected. We're all one. We're all connected. It will be visible. It will be more tangible than it is now. Tangible not being the right word, but it's going to be more experiential for people, for the masses.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you see it.
Yeah, I mean, I have 6 kids of my own, so
Wow.
I've taught them all, except for the 1-year-old. First
Oh,
basement,
1-year-old. Oh,
yeah. I've taught them all first basement level, sort of apprentice lens of understanding. So
yeah.
you want to start and merge the conscious and unconscious with something as simplistic as a trance, and realizing that ability to access is merging the two together. And most of my top 3 kids that are 12, 11, and 9 all have been trained in remote viewing and telepathy, psychic abilities, energetic healing. They do that like Superman, and it's now, as it should be, because that's how it works. It's a completion and creation that is never ending. And so what goes in must come out. And when someone believes that it's a conditioned duration of time, that unfortunately is not the truth, because it's instant. You are moving it now. The now moment is the only permanence. So this is very much the understanding of, when you want to acquire a mastery, all you have to do, if the audience wants to hear this, is imagine you have no past or future. Now what? Oh, that is the excitement of this present moment. And then you enter that potency into the primordial breath. Between the breath in and the breath out is the Wu Ji. When you hold that breath, it shows evidence of that permanence, and it will accumulate and start to saturate the flesh. You'll instantly be activated on an energy potential level. So your grid will start to burn in, just like you turn on a neon light. And as the gases move through the tube and it turns on and becomes a vibrant, clear color, you hear that buzzing in the background. That is that tone of your now moment. And now you are here. And so people can enter that at will. That charge that you and I are starting to oscillate with is that energy potential that is present right now. And people go, how do you know that? Well, I can see it and feel it at the same time. Or I can juggle. I'm a multitasker. That's what we call Nigong, which is internal power, which is what I teach with the Nidan, which is the internal alchemy. You evoke the internal power, and you have the ability, all these things are activated. And so there's not just one over the other. Most people get a bite of the spiritual dragon that leads them to, I'm this, or I'm that, or I'm something else. I'm really versed in this or that or something else. And what happens is most people become a jack of all trades and a master of nothing. When you understand that you can access all of this, it's all energy is the currency. That is the potential. That is vibratory, frequential, and ultimately holds resonance. Once you're able to master the resonance, it's on like Donkey Kong. It never leaves you. That oscillating that we're getting is the merging of that knowing. That is the potency. So all we need to do is have someone with a roadmap, and you will be given the ability to master anything you choose to. sensory perception goes under a blanket or an umbrella that I fall into, and I've been teaching people for decades. Mediumship, channeling, clairvoyance, healing, all of it's the same. Body dowsing, psychometry, radiesthesia. We can go into it because there's no limitation. The mastery of developing, there's an ecosystem within a Taoist alchemy. When you activate all those elements, and there's up to 81, but you start with the first 9 elements, shit gets real. And it's available to anybody. They just need to follow the formula. And so, which that transitory effect is that symbiosis of what some people call the struggle. And so, the struggle is real if you say it is. And people are like, but you're trying to tell me that my bills are not real, that my broken marriage is not real, that my hardship is not real, that my misery is not real. Absolutely not. That's, you know what you know, you don't know what you don't know. That's your truth right now. They're like, how dare you tell me that's my truth right now? For now. And tomorrow, there will be a new one, because you cannot unsee what you have seen. And that's where you evoke that spark of divinity. You show them something that is serendipitous, synchronistic, paranormal, supernatural, supernormal, superhuman, whether it's a transfer of energy potential, insight. I like to we have Magic Day, where we'll go down to the Strip, and my kids and I will play street magic, where there's nothing more exciting than someone hanging out, because we live in Nevada, which is Las Vegas. So we'll go down to the Strip, and it's like, oh, why don't we play street magic and just give people a little bit of a dose of some bliss and joy? And so people are always partying anywhere you can find. So I'll walk up to someone and go, would you like to experience bliss? And they're like, yeah, okay. And so their friend will get their camera out, and they'll walk back, and it's just typical. It's like a big it's a carnival constantly. And they'll be like, okay. And the second I hear the okay, they pass out standing up, and their friend goes, oh, what happened? What's going on? I'm like, this is the fun part. What would you like? What do you think your friend really would like or to experience, apart from this bliss and joy and feeling as though they've had 8 pina coladas, a full body massage in 10 days in the Bahamas, which they're going to receive regardless. And then they're like, holy crap. And this is kind of like the basement level stuff. People need to understand, I'm not having to commandeer their attention with, listen to me, I will speak into your mind, or more so, watch the pendulum, and we will. It's a vibration.
A vibration.
Once I set the resonance, you are suggestible, you are permeable, because that is part of the frequency. So the second you agree to that experience, you enter into that instantaneously. And so it's like, holy crap, what happened to look into my eyes, or let me tell you what I need to suggest you to feel the light pouring down on you. Enough of that nonsense. You hold it. It's like your reputation precedes you. You need to understand that once you cultivate this stuff, that's why people hang out with gurus or healers that are transmitting and emitting a frequency that does not require their participation.
Correct.
Mass events of healings and things of that nature. Most I've ever had was 1,001 time in person. And everyone comes in with a mental, emotional, physical, spiritual need. Yeah. And it meets itself. Once you raise that resonance, they all meet it. And what happens is they return home. They become whole. And in definition, whole is healing. Oh, yeah, baby. Anyway, I think we're both good at tangents, but I love it. I love your tangents. They're so exciting, because this is the magic of, real recognize real, my friend. Enough of there are plenty of people that are in this space right now that I'm going to fake it till I make it.
Don't get me started with that. Don't get me started with those people. Oh, God.
Well, the second I come across them, first thing would be, oh, I've called you out. No, I always go with, take my hand if you want to live. Terminator 2. Give them an opportunity to realize that what you want so badly, let me give you a few nudges that can put you in the direction of that, so you can actually live what it is that you want so bad in your heart. The problem
Exactly.
is many of them are so inverted with this energy, and this shows in most healers, and it'll transmute in the physical flesh. So
Mm.
I'm psychic, I'm clairvoyant, I have the ability to read these energies, yet they haven't balanced or felt into the flesh, and it'll show in their body. So they're extremely introverted, and the flesh will exhibit these elements. And that's where most of these
Correct.
psychics and healers have issues with their balancing of their muscle to
Hmm.
fat ratio,
Hmm.
and it will show itself. And then you go, oh, okay, well, let me help you out, because that at a base level, at a subatomic level, it starts to bleed into things, and it transpires to a point
Right.
where you're seeing physical ailments. Does that make sense?
100%. You're so 100%, and I agree totally. And I'm with you on that because I've noticed it. I notice it. I see it. And listen, there obviously you have, as you said, fake it till you make it type of
Right,
healers
right.
and readers, but you also have the more underdeveloped or unevolved types of readers that do start YouTube or TikTok or whatever. And that's where the problem lies. That's where you see how it catches up to them. It
Right.
catches up to them physically. What you just
Yeah.
described now, you see it because they did not take the time to do the work. It doesn't mean that they're fake,
Right.
okay? But it means
They
that they
start
haven't
to
put
consume. They're
the
like
correct.
autoimmune disease. They start consuming themselves
Exactly.
instead of
That's a good
balancing,
analogy.
right? Because it's a consumption of their own life force.
Correct.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was like, I'm
No, no,
sorry.
but you're
I
no, but
was thinking that,
it's like drinking a coffee, a cup of coffee with a friend. We're just having a conversation. We're gonna keep cutting each other off. It's fine. But yeah, I agree with you. And but that's why, and I also believe, finally, to sum it up, I do believe that everyone has that magic and that power and that superpower within you. Okay. You just need to lead your life accordingly, according to your vibrations, your beliefs, who you really are, and start by going into the shadows, really getting in the weeds. People have to get into the weeds first, and then start putting in the work, and the work doesn't stop. You don't stop. We don't stop. Even though we do what we do and we're teaching and we're helping other people, we still constantly work on ourselves, on our spirituality, on our abilities, on our energy, all of it. So, and going back to tarot, because that's how the whole conversation started. Tarot is a great way to start for anyone who wants to get into divination or wants to connect more to their higher self, or they want to do the shadow work, or they want to connect even to deceased loved ones. They can really help you cut the noise and kind of like get to it. So yes, divination is for anyone who respects divination and the unwritten rules and the unwritten laws of divination, but it's for everyone. Be ethical. That's the number one. I'm saying it because of the influx of readers that we have out there, which is causing a little bit of an issue because, as you know, it takes one bad apple. And this is what's happening now on social media. And because I'm on YouTube a lot. I am kind of on TikTok, but I don't like TikTok for what we do because of these fakers, scammers, whatever you want to call them, grifters, whatever you want to call them, for that reason. So I'm going to stick to my corner of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it happens. There are a lot of people out there that are, you know, making a bunch of money, but absolutely full of shit. And it can be problematic because there's so
Oh,
many options.
It's
and
very problematic, son. Sorry for
and
interrupting,
yeah,
but you're
no, no.
playing with people's lives. What
Mhm.
people come to us because they're vulnerable, right?
Right.
They have some kind of vulnerability or they're seeking answers. And if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're talking about, or you cannot, tune into their energy and understand exactly where the problem lies, not the problem, it's not even a problem, or where the soft spot is, and help them, you know, heal it or help direct them, then it can get very dangerous. It can get, people can, I mean, we've heard stories, we're not going to repeat them here, but it's unethical, it's dangerous, it's risky, it's playing with people's psyche and emotions and all of it. Sorry for interrupting you, but
No, no.
it's
I mean,
not just that they make money, it's like it's
yeah, yeah.
it's
It's
dangerous.
it's a corrupted space, and most of them are pointing outward. Yet most of the people that are in this space right now need to evaluate and nourish themselves because they're looking for approval through this psychic ability, through this supernatural, and it's one facet of the diamond. Yet when they start to realize that they need nothing, as we would put it within Taoism, let the man who's never left the village, let him know he's seen the world. It all lies within this. And so they will find that 5,000, workshops, healing programs. I'm a Reiki master, Qigong master, healer, psychic abilities, blah, 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 blah. It all comes down to the get down, which is really quite simple. When you accept you know nothing, you know everything, which is the paradox of this reality. Yet you're so close to your truth when you come to this realization. And it's like, oh, wow, that's a mic drop. Yeah. First time I heard that was. Thank you, Jet Emperor, which is one of my teachers. But you get like Latsu, for example, the turbulence and the chaos within
Mm.
this year. At the beginning of the year, everyone was coming to him and going, "Whoa, what's going to happen? Financial death, destruction, everything." And his answer was this: imagine you're like a grain of sand, asking the beach, "What are we doing today?" Fall back into the beach and be realized. And I was just like, I don't even know where to go from here, but I am dumb as rocks, but you definitely make me look smart because the information is all within you. You are just merging back into that magnetism and that pulse that never
Correct.
leaves. And that doesn't require your personality. And when you do that, you can contribute to something that is either chaotic or complete bliss and unity. And that is for you to decide whether you want to merge across that
Mm.
vesica. Which
Mm.
point are you contributing to? And the more you become mastered in what it is that you do, the more it will be realized. Yet, in essence, what's happening here is an inverted effect within
Right.
the timeline of this year. And what happens, it's going deeper and deeper. The earth is absorbing the magnetism of its
Right.
field, which in turn is taking everything from that's being transmitted through the universe, i.e., specifically the relationship between the sun, and then it converts as the sun's frequency hits that magnetism.
Mm.
This is the electric potential. You create the spectrum, the light spectrum, and then you center into the center point of the rainbow, which is here. And so you can
Mhm.
now dance that. So that absorption of the
Mhm.
earth will then transmute it and bring it back to that what people call a Schumann resonance. It's just the resonance of frequency, which is about 7.88 hertz. Now that, in essence, if you start playing with brainwaves, is about an alpha theta brainwave, which
Mm.
you're completely pliable, and your ability to affect change within your own abilities is now. And then,
Mhm.
reality, the chaos, the death and destruction, the transmutation, as you put it, will be met with 12 to 18
Yeah.
hertz. And so it's just chaos. Add sugar and caffeine, and you're shit out of luck. You're batshit crazy. And that's how people go. They
Yeah.
go ballistic, and then you add more to it. So The method is in the madness, in the sense that less media control, because you can have access to any information you choose to. So now the narrative is expansive, and he's talking about a general consensus of 40 to 60 hertz, which would be highly conscious, the complete merging of yin and yang, the complete merging, as you put it through this conversation. You're experiencing the car wash of spirituality, and in the end you will be liberated to the human beingness. Yet through that car wash there could be some grazing and some potential softening that will take place, because your fragility of your humanness is going to be exposed, and you either shit or get off the pot. There's only going to be two options that is going to happen. You either merge with it, or you want to make it, it's all about you. If I had a penny for how many times over all these years I have been the catalyst for someone's awakening, yet at face value, before they come to that realization, you're the reason I have my problem.
I know.
You're the reason. Everything I did, second I came to you, all of a sudden, oh, easy now. Let's walk through the metaphysics. Let's walk through the metamorphosis. Let's walk through the magic that you're experiencing, and not just dumb it down to your emotions, which is such an infantile way to look at things. But you get the same thing, right?
I recently got the same thing. Well, a year and a half ago, I had this this lady that we did several readings, and she was on a precipice in her life. There were a lot of things going on. So one of the main things, let's just say, one of her main worries or main focus was her infertility. And she was getting older, so she wanted desperately to have a child. I'm not going to get into details, but all I'm going to say is that everything that I told her, came true, and she did not like it. I was very accurate with everything, and she did not like it, and she started saying, it's your fault this happened to me. Exactly what they told you. It's your fault that this happened to me, and everything you said, and it's almost like you manifested this. This is not predictions and blah blah blah. And I was like, this woman needs to calm down. I was really I was doing breath work just to be able to respond to her, because she was super emotional and unhinged. Let me tell you this.
The cathartic letdown is always, I love watching it, and it's like, thank you so much for helping me.
Because that's exactly what happens on.
It's exactly. Well, this is a constant, because you only, in this material, there's only yin and yang. So people are going to, that pulse that you're putting out, and your resonance, that the old expression, your reputation precedes you, or your resonance precedes you, is the same thing. So you're getting this. So you'll enter a room, and people either love you or hate you. There's only two options in this material.
That's true. And especially with people, I find it with myself, it has to do with my vibration and my aura as well. That's the thing. Either people love me, or people just hate me, and they don't know why they hate me. And I tell you, that woman came back a year and a half later. So this happened 10 days ago, just before Easter, actually. And I wake up in the morning and I find a huge text like that. She apologized. She was so apologetic. She said, now I see the light. And I'm like, yeah, well, took you a while, because I was trying to help you to get there, but you weren't. Anyways, everything's fine. She was like, she wanted another reading. And I'm like, no, I refused. I refuse, because I'm like, okay, you know what? If we're going to get emotional again, and if we're going to go through this, I don't want that. But she understood, everything's fine. But this is what happens. And especially for teachers, spiritual teachers, who are vibrating a certain kind of energy, and their aura, and our auras are so strong that we're going to have that. We're either going to attract all the cuckoos for Cocoa Puffs and all the crazies where they start attacking us, or, they're aggressive, or, and they don't even know why they're doing it. Or you're going to have people or animals even, because I see that with me as well. I feel like Dr. Doolittle sometimes, because animals just gravitate towards me because they sense my energy, they sense my vibration, and with strangers and everything. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Yin yang. There's the two elements that are very prevalent.
And it's always a cautionary tale where I give people the parameters that they're starting out with to be liberated is unlimited. Yet you're going to start out with the human condition, and it's almost as if it falls on deaf ears, knowing they understood that these are mechanisms that evoke this type of response. So everything comes to the surface, and within Taoism we refer to cast the wicked away and draw that person closer. So I actually enjoy going in for round 2 because it's more, them self-realizing, and for me nothing moves my needle. So I'm not really, my personality is, I'll drive my side by side in the desert 100 miles an hour, eat chocolate bonbons, and I still unfortunately subscribe to Netflix. But that is not required for me to be a witness. My personality is not required for this resonance. So that's where people get really, it's like, you've got a personality, you swear you're a priest, and I just witnessed a miracle. How is that possible? That doesn't make sense. That's not a divine. How? You just said fuck, and then this person's bone fused in front of my eyes. How is that possible? Because my personality is the distraction for you.
Right.
When you're getting that moment of healing, you need to be distracted from all the noise in the fringe of your reality. And so if I take that moment to draw your attention to something else, and it's like, holy crap, how did that happen? That is the purpose of this. And so I'm quite commonly the spiritual whipping boy, and I look forward to it. Maybe there's something sadistic about my own personality that goes, oh yeah, I'm walking into this fire, because it's just always going to transform into this profound realization for the seeker. Yet there's this turbulent transfer of handing the baton from someone who is into their mundane reality as a truth, when in actual it's the biggest distortion out there. And it can become problematic. Most people just move away from that type of like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It is as it is. You win some, you lose some. My mom used to say, you win some, you lose some. There you go.
Exactly. It's like you have to also realize that it's not for everyone. It's okay. Just like, someone is corrupted and deficient and bankrupt as like Steve Jobs, who was just absolutely rotten from the core. In the moment, all his confession and admission, I'm a Buddhist, I'm this and that, it wasn't until his wet ass hour, his last few words were, it's much brighter than I thought. Yeah, there you go. And so it transferred it into that. And the more inverted he got, the more deficient he was, the more he did not get that nourishment from everything that he was doing, no matter how much money, power, influence, that could never, ever bring him back to that potency of that magnetism, that fluidity, that pulse. He was too inverted. And so you look at someone like that and people go, well, you're going to say that money brings you happiness, or money doesn't bring you happiness because you don't have it. And most people, that's their retort to that very statement. Like, but the reality is everyone is moving that needle. It's happening all day long, like a barometer. And you have to realize that you can harness it back to now, and it doesn't require anything. And when you breathe in and out and you hold it, you are here. You got it. You got the secret sauce. You're off to the races. And watch how magic is transmitted and transformed into that now moment.
Correct. Yeah.
Just saying, and just like I did warn you, I was a master void of time and space. Here we are. It's at an hour
I
40.
could talk to you all day. I could talk to you all
I
day.
know we are just remembering reunited, and it feels so good.
Let me tell you this, but cut it out, please. Edit this part out.
Yep, yep,
I knew you were going to reach out to me. My guides told me.
yeah.
My guides told me, and it's like it doesn't always happen. Obviously, I'm not like I know exactly who's going to reach out to me. But with you and I knew it because the night before I received your email, my guide said someone is going to be knocking on your door, like symbolically, someone's going to be knocking on your door. You should do that. Like, come to your podcast because this is actually one of like my most busiest periods right now. And my guide said, no, you've got to make time. You've got to do this. And I'm like, okay. And now I know why. Now I know why.
And we're like two peas in a pod. It's like we never left each other. And that's that
It's
potency that comes together. It's crazy. Just saying.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I was watching one of your this was after you emailed me. So I think this was like last week or something. I can tell you because I went on me and my marketing background. Obviously, I always like, and if you want any help with your YouTube or anything, I'm here to help. I can help you anything you want.
Right.
But here's the thing. So I went on because I always do that. Like I'm always interested in like your past guests and your topics and your content and whatnot. And as soon as I looked at I'm very honest. As soon as I looked at your eyes, I knew. I'm like, okay, my guides know what they're doing. They know. We know what they're doing. But I'm just saying, it all made sense.
Yeah, real recognize real, my friend.
And you're validating as well. So yeah.
Yeah, the energy precedes us. It's like you cannot fake that. Correct. That is a mastery. That is an awareness. That is a knowing. That is part of the experience. And, that's where most people get lost. And that's okay. That's just the beginning for them.
You live, you learn. You have to make mistakes. It's trial and error, right?
Yeah.
So people have to learn the hard way sometimes. And if they get scammed or if they believe some kind of fake guru or fake snake oil salesperson, whatever it is, that's on them. Use discernment.
Yeah.
Use your intuition.
Yeah. Well, this has been amazing. We're going to have to do a part 2 for sure. So
I would love to. And if you want, would you be interested in coming on my channel and maybe talking about taoism?
Absolutely. I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
We'll set that up whenever you have time. I'm going to send
I'll find time.
Yeah. Give me some times that you're available and what it works for you. I'm going to give you my cell phone so you can contact me at will. Also, I have a retreat center that's out here. I don't know, where are you? Where are you based again?
I'm in Greece right now.
All right, yeah. So if you ever come out to California, well, not California, Nevada. I don't know why I said that. Am I corrupted by something? That's
no, because I was thinking California when you said it. We're telepathic now. Because I'm planning a trip, New York, California, Florida. My brother's in Florida, so I was planning to. That's why you said California. Because I was thinking.
Yeah. So we're tuned in. So Nevada, we have a retreat center, and I can hold up to 60 people. So it might be something that you might want to contemplate. And I love doing collaborations. You set your price, you set your scenario, and then we just post to give people time, and they'll come. They just turn up. It's funny.
Send me details. Send me the date. Send me everything. I will also help you promote it. 100%. But I just need dates and details.
Well, this is the exciting part about the New World Order. In person is like Willy Wonka's golden ticket these days. Because it's like, oh my goodness, you can't make this stuff up, but people want to experience that, even though what we do is boundless and infinite, and it doesn't require an in-person experience. It's like almost like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm going to be able to meet this person and go through an experience, and and you have your own training decide what it is. I normally do 3 to 6 hours.
How many? 3 to 6.
3 to 6 hours for, say, 2 days. We bring in the catering. I normally ship people out from, I'll have them stay on the strip and then ship them out. I'm about an hour outside of like Vegas. So then it's a real experience. We go right into the desert. We experience some of the natural form pyramids out here. There's some potency, my friend.
Would love to. That's why I need the dates to see how I'm gonna set it up. And you know what? Maybe next year we can do it here in Greece where I can help.
Oh, I would love that.
And we can go somewhere very spiritual, very like location wise. I have some ideas.
That's my love affair, my secret love affair with Greek history and Greece. It's like it's a thing that I push away, but I keep coming back to. So that's something that my goodness, that would be awesome.
Well, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. So a lot of things. So okay, first things first. I will email you tomorrow because it's late now. I'll email you tomorrow with dates when you can come on to mine. In the meantime, you send me details about the retreat.
Yes.
And then when you come on mine, we will definitely promote the retreat anyways.
Yes.
All right. Because and my community is wonderful. I'm so blessed. You know how they say you attract your tribe? They're so spiritual, so kind. I never have any trolls, never, because I do a lot of live streams. So, you know, you have the chat and everything, and they're down for anything, you know, they're like, they want to learn, they want to absorb more knowledge. They're very spiritual. So I think you will have a wonderful time on my channel. I know they will love you. So that'll be amazing.
I love it. So now let's put in the last part of the podcast because you want to.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So this has been amazing. What an incredible time that we've had just meeting together. And, you know, I love it when people are experiencing this. We call it an experience within my little ecosystem stratosphere because, you know, everyone gets to feel the dance that we have through the conversation. It's not empty words. It's not just two people chattering about nothing. We are communing with this potency. So it's been a real pleasure having you on the channel. And I'm going to put your social sphere and interweb under this podcast. I want everyone to go out, students, disciples, 126s, and subscribers. And then you're like, whoa, what is a 126er? That's just an app that I developed to take someone from zero to a hero. So there's a whole, you know, creation there. You hit a button. You don't have to be guru, spiritual, or anything. You just become, you know, you feel like you've had to eat pina coladas, a full body massage in 10 days in the Bahamas, which starts that resonance. So I want everyone to go out and check out what you're offering. You offer sessions, group sessions, training. Please share with the audience everything that you have.
So I do psychic. I offer various types of readings, such as psychic readings, mediumship readings, connecting people with their deceased loved ones, past life readings as well. I can connect to you a past life that is significant to you right at this moment in time. And I also do courses. Now I have to redo my website a little bit, but I will have courses available for a very, very small fee that people will be able to download from my website, and other projects that I'm working on at the moment. And I will share when everything is ready. I can share with you, but the world has to wait.
Yes, perfect. All right, my friend, I'm just so grateful for you. I feel like we're just like reconnected, and we've always known each other, and that is truly potent. And this is something that takes place when you become more aware and realize that this is happening through you, not to you, this very experience. And so with that, I want to thank you for coming on. I'm very grateful for you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank the universe for bringing you into my life. I want to thank the audience for sharing their time with us today. I am your humble servant and Sifu Taoist Master San Qing, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.